The Omaha leg of the big game Germany is drawing to a close. Soon we'll switch it up to new faces and a new game. No Limit Hold'em on its way. But first, it remains to be seen who the winners and losers from the Omaha action are. Right now, it's the guy they call John G, who tops the profit and loss standings by a long way. Hats off to him. But the guy we're really cheering for is online qualifier Gary Hagen. He's parlayed his 20K ticket into 71,000 euros. Now, the rules state that he must play 12 hours before quitting this game. So hang in there, Gary. At the other end of the table, Sam Trickett looking to claw back some of the 100K plus he's down. Ouch, Sam. Over €1 million on this table. Commentary coming from me, Jesse May, and the brilliant James Dempsey. Action from the magnificent King's Casino in Razvedov. This actually is, and not just during festival time, but talking to a few people. If you're someone who wants the kind of poker vacation where you can grind and not have much expenses, coming here for a week is brilliant for a small stakes guy. You can get a hotel in the normal period. You're talking like €30 a night. And, you'll find some really, really good cash games and daily tournaments here.
Let me just say that the hotel is awesome as well.
Yeah, wait. And then there's the main
spa,
hotel.
Everything.
Yeah,
It's
everything.
gorgeous.
This is
which everyone has access to. Even if you're staying somewhere else, you can come and use the spa for €20. And it is stunning. It's on the 6th floor, which is the top floor here. And the whole thing is floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the countryside. It's pretty special. And if you're in the right time, if you jump in the sauna on the corner there, you can watch Leon arrive in his helicopter right by the helipad. But no, it's a great place to play. They'll come pick you up. They do shuttle service.
Are we at the stage where if you have a hand, you just need to check to Tony?
It's that way. I mean, a lovely starting hand.
Look at John D.
The Wolf's calling with just a jack, and this is a spot just a flat call. He's got trips and a flush draw, but there's no. You're raising here, you're just going to get all the worst hands to fold, and all the better hands are going to call you. So definitely a spot to see a card.
Right, these trips are tricky. I mean, we can see he's in a massively dominating spot, but
if he's up against number 6, he's not. Well, that's a great card. That's the card he was thinking of.
Check.
That is the gin card.
He's beating everything now, apart from obviously Jack's fault.
I mean, how much does Tony know he's in bad shape right now?
No, when he's being called in 2 spots, especially when John's. If the Wolf was the second caller, it's different. But when John's overcalled, he must know he's got a 6. I can't know this will happen. John will bet, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, John.
Just picks up the casual €33,000 pot.
5 bets, 25. Six pass.
He'll take it down.
Here's the Wolf. You never know.
You have to be a very curious man. A very curious man. You can do it, Wolf. You can pass. Slowly towards the muck.
How much is in there?
33,000.
Huh?
33.
John's desperately wishing he had made it only 22. if that would have swung it.
You missed the flash?
You missed, I say, yes, you missed.
If I missed the flash?
Catch one pair.
Tell him you'll show him one, John.
No, I didn't miss.
Show him the club. Show him the 7 of clubs, John. Actually, that's the only card he can beat.
I don't know why it's taking quite this long.
Wow, it's amazing, really.
It's hard to believe that Rob managed to bluff this guy.
You do talk yourself into some funny things sometimes,
No.
but 25,000 euros put in on the river. The wolf is
crazy.
howling. The wolf is howling.
Wow. And John, what did we say? He was in for 40k. He's up 220k.
I mean,
And he's been voted off once already.
This is the greatest game I've ever been in my life, says John.
He's like, they can vote me off again. I'll go.
Will we see another hand make this list? These are the top 6 pots from Razvedov so far. There's over $1 million on the table now, so every chance we're gonna get another big dazzle. One seat open there in the middle of the table. These guys don't seem to mind. They're locked in. This is the slow boat to China game.
2,000.
10 days.
2 pass.
No one leaves. The only thing you can do to get out of this game is jump overboard.
5 raise, 600.
So, we got a couple
Nice
hands
hands
here.
here.
Yeah.
Pass.
And, you know, Tony is one of the few players
One pass.
at this table right now who when he raises, would not automatically be assumed to have the aces.
No, which is why I'm surprised that Philipp folded ace, king, 8 deuce with, you know, nut diamonds and king hearts.
Heads up.
So,
He's isolated John G.
5 check. 6 bet, 2,000.
it's a good flop for Tony. You know, he blocks the king. He's got backdoor spades. Well, here we go. John with a check raise by the looks of it.
8,000.
It's just a gut shot.
What's the thinking?
I don't know.
No, but I mean, you know, it just feels like
It seems like a
I'll
silly,
check raise.
silly second Tony's raise. Wow, here we go. Tony's raise pre-flop. He can have lots of king queen type hands.
right, and
all
any
this shit.
any
It seems like a really
combination
bad-
of 2 face cards is going to give him, you know.
It seems a bad spot
Yeah.
against someone who's raised pre-flop. It's not. You know, if it was 7-6-3, fair enough.
6 check.
Obviously, Tony's scared that he had a straight draw. He's right. That's the gin card for Tony.
So
The funny thing is, John really now has to fire.
I was going to say, but the overall thing is that maybe John was just going kind of one bullet there, shutting down if he gets called, but that's not really a great.
But he can still tell the story of having a really strong hand here. He's check raised the flop, checked when the primary draw, which is Jack 10, has got there.
5
So
check.
now would bet the river, but
6 bet,
wisely not.
20,000.
Of course he's looking at that going, well, what, if Tony didn't have a straight, because he'd have bet the turn with a straight, so he must have had 2 pair.
Aces?
Wow.
Probably.
Button, please.
Maybe king, queen.
Yeah, that's what he was more worried about, was king queen, which is why he didn't fire the bluff. You got to wonder when you bluff there and the guy calls you, he's either got a draw or a made hand, and
Bet the turn.
when the draw comes in on the turn, he doesn't bet, and he probably had the made hand, so
If you have 2 pair.
So it's Omaha now, but there's talk of this game wrapping up soon, taking a short break, and coming back for No Limit Hold'em. And these are the faces we're expecting to start with when we sit down for the No Limit Hold'em action. Sam and the Wolf will be back, so too Leon Sukernick and Rob Yong, and a treat in the 8th seat, it's darts legend Michael Van Gerwen, chancing his arm in the big game. The action should be fast and furious in Razvedov. I'm looking forward to it.
You can't get million.
Tony G v Isildur.
800 would bring you
That
up.
was a mouth-watering matchup, I think, from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
before
he's a regular player
before
in
they
the
actually
Russian
knew who
market.
Isildur was.
Like,
I believe Tony G challenged the then anonymous
Yeah, I see.
Victor Blom to a heads-up match.
I
Still
would,
would be very
Today?
I
exciting
would just not just take it. You're gonna have 60 grand.
But back to this game.
Raise 2,000.
2,000. Raise.
Couple straddles out there called round the board.
I take out that
And
good guy.
I mean, this is something you
Dangerous player.
don't see too often.
7 call.
Tony G sitting back in his chair and not playing a pot. That's what a winner does.
3 cards, please.
Who are the losers? They're hunched around this table, getting in the pot.
Steaming with the steaming thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're losing Twitter, doesn't really work, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't really work anymore.
Oh, okay, there's some
It's
good
just
starting
full
hands,
of
but
upstream
John's
people.
got the best hand this flop.
Yes.
Check, check.
Check out the wolf, who's got the king high flush draw.
Oh yeah, we can see some blood here.
8.2. It's a 3 bet 8.2.
Isidore had a lovely starting hand, but it hasn't really panned out that way.
The chairs are so low, right?
So the Wolves,
A bit weird. I could have
Wolves potted away here, but as you know, he's in a terrible shape against John's hand. He shares the 5.
You sat on the chair.
Can only hit a king, queen, or oh, it shares the 8 as well, so he can only hit a king or a queen.
You look higher
5
than me.
call.
He sits, most
He
straight,
is, although,
that's
I mean,
straight, my back's aching because it's leaning back.
Oh, he wasn't to know that.
I mean, I was just thinking, how many blanks does the wolf win with here?
Plus I think my fucking leaning back, I was going to
It's
swap it.
really going to be down to how aggressive he is,
Or
right?
everybody else's.
He is in position.
I don't know, I can see him. Well, there we go. This is
Fucking need a good
card
chair.
crash now.
Oh yeah, all
So
over.
that's here.
Oh my God, it's totally over. The wolf
Yeah.
is going to do 85,000
Yeah.
right now.
22,000.
big
John's
fun, but
basically come out for pot, just a couple thousand less than pot.
Yeah.
And one or two things happen. The Wolves are going to raise, or the Wolves going to call and then call the river.
If he calls and the board pairs, there's a chance he might only lose that 22,000.
That's the only thing that's going to get him out of this.
It's one thing to get yourself in these spots. You need to cash.
67, 8.
Very important to
In the
get
box,
value here.
67 and 8.
I'd say the Wolf's got a poker mind here. I really think he's I really think he's talking himself into folding.
All in.
Close,
He's
close.
actually managed to raise and put the last 3,000 in as well. I don't think it's what he meant to do.
That's another big pot. Not the biggest. I think that's probably the third or fourth biggest pot we've had today. And John G is now.
Good chance.
Oh, well, he's a 300,000 winner, isn't he?
Yeah, from just what, 40,000 he started with.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Razvedov and the Party Poker Live Big Game Germany. We're playing Hold'em. Let's get ready to gamble.
It's 1,000?
2,200?
No, it makes 6.
Yes, 6. It's 2,200.
Yes. I mean,
For 2002, 5 call,
I calling.
6 call.
We have some nice hands out here. Philipp kings, Vlad ace queen 8-6 double, Sam ace king 10-9 double, John with a suited ace, Tony G with a pair of jacks. This pot should be 100,000. What's in there? Vlad with 14k. I think he's got no choice here but to pump it up. Sam's the open. They've all called. He could squeeze. Ah, come on.
Yeah, still on.
Could have basically got it in there.
Yeah, it would have been a nice spot for him, wouldn't it?
It's a good hand to do it with. A nut suit, a second nut suit. There's always a good chance Sam might isolate.
Oh, I do love Tony G. Jack, 9-3. Now he is on the button here.
It's one of the better hands we've seen him play.
Ace.
See, look, even taking into account,
Queen
Vlad has
8-8-5,
33%
yeah.
equity in this multi-way pot. All right, there's an interesting flop. John with the nut flush draw. Tony G with the nuts.
That's how you do
He
it.
knew.
That's how you do it.
You were questioning. Everyone else, squadoosh.
5 bet, 6,000.
Now this is an interesting spot. Tony G has the bare nuts, like no redraw. This is definitely a spot where you can advocate just flat calling.
And wait and see what happens on the turn.
Which is exactly
Money
what he's
goes
doing.
in on the turn.
He's
Yeah.
played enough to know look how deep they are. You know, they're 328k effective. If he pots it there, then John's going to know what he's got and can play him almost perfectly down the streets. Also, as well, to take into account, it's more likely John doesn't have it given Tony has 2 jacks in his hand. So he maybe, if he just calls, allows John to keep barreling with whatever draw he's got, thinking that
Heads up.
Tony doesn't have the nuts. But but more so, he doesn't want to get in a situation whereby he raises there, and they've both got Jack-9, but John has Jack-9 with clubs, or Jack-9 Queen, or all sort of hands that are free rolling against Tony.
Right, and this is perfect now for Tony because now he can commit. And well, you say commit, these guys are both effectively 300,000
I still don't mind him just flatting here and letting him bet the river. But what's he going to make it here? 80k, and then a flat's fine. Again, it's the same argument. He's got no redraw.
If you're watching, tell us what you think. Do you raise here with Tony's? Do you take the big raise, or do you flat one more time?
Especially because, Tony's got 2 jacks and neither of them has jack of clubs. If you give John the nuts, then it's 50-50. He's got the jack of clubs in his hand, and then there's a decent chance he's got a flush with it. If Tony G,
I think having the 9 of clubs is actually kind of big for Tony G.
Yeah, but it's not. If it switched, say he had the jack of clubs and the 9 of spades, that would be a lot stronger hand. This one, I like how he's playing this hand. And this is great because when it comes to brick, John has to pump it in.
I remember hearing a story. Well, we'll wait for it.
Oh, of course, John
wow.
hits. And I like the check as well.
Why do you like the check?
Because he's telling a story that he's got Jack into. Look, Tony's actually thinking he's bluffing him off a chop here.
Jeez, he's wrapped him up like a turkey.
3-0.
He's trust him.
This is great. But basically, John was telling the story the whole time he's got Jack-9. If he bets the river there, well, it's been called, he basically just has to have the nuts. Tony's going to fold. This way, Tony might value bet his lower flushes and bluff him off the chop, or bluff if he's got, a set of 7s or something.
Sublime.
It's great play.
Sublime, and look how deep they are. I mean, if Tony was sitting there with the jack high flush, not the jack, but
Yeah, 67.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. If John had value bet the river and Tony had a queen high flush or something, he might begrudgingly call. This way really puts Tony in a tough spot.
85.
Tony, let me introduce you to Mr. Moore.
I have to say, John's played this hand, but well, they both played the hand really well, I think.
6-4.
I think they both played the hand. Tony's bet on the river is great because he thinks he's bluffing off a chop.
That was a really cool hand, actually.
Yeah, that was,
oh,
cash me
no!
out.
Oh, no! There goes the G.
that was amazing. We've had some big pots, we've had some crazy hands, but that, from pure poker point of view, was the best hand we've seen tonight.
Let's do it for Jack.
So Tony G's roller coaster night continues, or maybe not. We're not sure if he's coming back or not, but at 30,000 euros down, that represents a considerable comeback from his position at one point. Joining the table now, Switzerland's Ronnie Kaiser. And leaving the table is Belfast Gary Hagen. He's done his time, and he is now permitted to cash out. What a night it's been for Gary. Easy to lose sight of the money the way some of these guys play, but that is a 50,000 euro profit going into the pocket of an online qualifier. Good on you, Gary. And when you look at John G, turning 40,000 into 400,000 nearly. Wow. Welcome back to the Party Poker Live big game, and things are looking up, James Dempsey, because this game has gone short-handed, which is really what you want to see.
Yeah, it's gone short-handed, and it looks like Gary has now cashed out with a very healthy profit for his qualifying efforts.
15.
Yeah, and he's the big story so far as I'm concerned. 1-2 no-limit hold'em player who's now got about 80,000.
7. Call. Call. 31st. One check. 2 check. 5-15.
It's pretty interesting, but John's bet with absolutely nothing, and Vlad said they were top set. So Philipp with a decision, an open-ender and a pair.
And because he's in the middle, he's probably going to get punished here, right?
Yeah, look, Philipp's raised it up. And Vlad's only got 12k, so in she goes.
500.
So unless he catches a ace or a 9, that'll be doubling up.
Yeah, what's his equity going to end up being? Somewhere in
2
the...
all in.
25%.
5.
Oh, better than that, surely. No,
Ja,
you're right, you are. 27.
Det är 6, 7, 4, S med ett.
Only because he can, that can obviously kill the hand with a pair up.
Ja, det är bara nöten de har varsin. More?
Spot for Troyovsky, but I'm guessing he'll be happy enough to
Runner,
rebuy if he
what?
doesn't win this, as will Philipp. Philipp's guy's got chips back.
Yeah.
Oh my! What a perfect card.
Wow.
Not playing?
Good morning.
Huh?
Busted you? Yeah.
Come on. One more.
No re-entry.
Vladimir, who's been up 48 hours, just about straight preparing for this
Sit
game,
open,
What
position
is-
two.
decides he's going to take a little nap and come back. And
for 30.
I mean, they were talking about it outside, James, saying, you know, that one of the reasons that people might not be so encouraged to continue this game is because of the man who just sat down in seat number 9,
Straddle, 200.
Yes.
Ronnie Kaiser.
Align a
who's-
bit.
There's no blinds.
No, align a big
Yeah.
blind.
I mean,
Small
what do you
blind,
know
align a
about
big
Ronnie
blind.
Kaiser?
It was 200
Just,
before.
I've actually seen him
Straddle.
on streams from here
We're not
for the,
good.
over the
Align
last
a
few
bit.
years, where he just seems to
Okay.
win every game.
I first
you say.
encountered him, I think it was the EPT London, maybe. He made a final table with Martin Zidania. I don't remember that a couple of years ago, and destroyed
Are
everybody.
you from Germany?
But he's been regarded as one of the best PLO cash players.
Yeah, that's,
No,
In Europe for quite a
just
while.
started.
Only the strongest.
I got John 396,000. Sat down with 40.
You straddle 4. 8 raise, 1200.
I think it's,
12.
And Ronnie's come in on a nice little sturdy buy, and looks like he's got 100 or so.
this,
5 pass,
I think it's
1200.
Oh yeah, nice hand.
7 re-raise, 4400.
Dobro, takže.
It's a nice hand for Ronnie to continue with.
Yeah, 3900, yes? Spot. 39.
And I mean, you know, I don't know how much Ronnie and Isildur have played, but
Heads up.
Isildur doesn't have to have aces here.
No. Well, the funny thing is, the way we've been watching, you'd think he has, but I don't know.
Please, card.
You know, if Ronnie's been watching the stream,
Here is
he'd obviously
box,
thinking, "Oh, I'm
card.
playing Isildur."
And you have enough of a piece of this if you're Ronnie
Oh,
to pretty much hold on here.
Yeah, you're taking a card here
5
for sure.
seconds. 7 bet 8,000.
But this, of course, is the some of the tricky parts to Omaha, because he's, as you get short-handed, and you were saying, you know, the full games are nut peddlers. This is very far from nut peddling. He's got a 6-high flush. He's got a possible backdoor to a couple really ropey 2 pairs.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And he has to hold on here for
But
at
yeah,
least
he
one
can't-
card.
he has to call. But the good thing is, he's gonna get to showdown a lot when he does make his hands.
And how often does Isildur have to shut down right now?
That's the thing. It's hard for Isildur to keep barreling. That's exactly it. So when he does make his hands, he gets to showdown a lot, which is why you can call there.
What range of hands is Ronnie bluffing? I mean, would Isildur have ever checked if he still had the nut flush draw, for instance?
No,
Right,
I think
okay.
he's gonna keep betting. Interesting when Isildur's got the ace of diamonds, but he can't really have the nut flush draw because the nut flush because he would have bet that on the turn.
Well, potential for about a 20K bet, and I really don't have enough of a sense of this hand
No, I
understand if
I
he
don't
can
think
get
he's going to
through.
try. I think this is a run out that he can't really bluff on. If it had been an offsuit jack, then maybe he could bet a smaller bet and throw in mixing in some 2-pair value bet into the range. But when he's not really going to be betting 2-pair here as a value bet, it doesn't leave him many credible hands to bluff with.
Right.
If he picked up diamonds on the turn, he probably would have bet with them. You know.
One big bet. Oh, you checked?
If that was a jack of clubs,
Check
I think
raise
he would have
both.
bet.
Why you don't bet that? What do you do if you bet?
Not sure, actually. Probably raise.
Well, Isildur's here.
Go
At long
on,
last.
Isildur.
Probably would have raised.
Welcome back to the big game, where we've gone short-handed in the final throes of the Omaha Dying of the Light.
Sorry, guys.
And that is the kind of hand Isildur will like. Straighten it. 7, 9, 10 jack.
5, 4.
You don't like folding your blinds, huh? 2, 4, 7, 10.
1500. eight.
Nice hand, right?
Isildur versus Kaiser.
Already
These
1400,
two,
400.
I would say, are
Just
among
1100 more.
the most feared and aggressive young poker players on the planet.
Okay, nice flop here for Isildur.
Tricky bet.
The top wrap, top pair.
2000.
Ronnie just with the bottom open ender. Backdoor spades. Not a very good hand.
I'm like, if this game, you know, starts to break up a little bit, I'm totally happy, because if this ends up Isildur versus Ronnie heads up, I'm going nowhere.
Yeah, this could be fun.
I don't know if any of you guys got to see years ago the Dur versus Zygmunt heads up Omaha match for $500,000. That was pretty special.
Okay, Isildur made it straight and has top two. Checks it over to Ronnie. So hoping Ronnie will take a stab at this. Ronnie has picked up spades. You think if he's called this flop, it's one of the cards he really wants to be bluffing at, because it hits his range pretty hard.
Who, Ronnie?
It should hit his range pretty hard, so it makes sense for him to bluff this card. You can't just be calling with 6-7 here with that intention of getting dishonest, and especially when he's picked up spades.
Right.
Call.
Isildur being very sneaky.
So any blank,
No,
which that was. Oh,
Well,
no,
that-
it's
well,
not
it
really.
gives Ronnie the lowest straight. That's the thing.
Well,
so now Ronnie will probably have to value bet quite small.
Oh, I was thinking that means he has showdown equity, but no.
No, but I don't think he thinks he's behind here. With only realistically 10-7.
And there's a decent number of hands he can get paid off with, top two maybe.
Kann ich noch mal ein frisches Wasser haben?
Yeah, if he thinks he's got
Große
two pair or
frische
set.
Wasser?
10,000.
Yeah, and he's gone for half pot. I like that bet sizing. He's a double cool, and Ronnie can't believe he's behind when he does.
Smallest
Seven
straight.
call.
Got a medium straight.
7, 10, huh?
6, 7 straight. 7, 10.
Light or winning.
These guys know what's going on. And Ronnie just got value owned there.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate run out for him. And Isildur's played the hand really well. He's got top two in the second nut, so. It's just saying these guys, they have to put so many hands into check calling ranges and into bet ranges. The lines get really blurred.
And really getting value owned like that, that is kind of something that happens to you the better player you are, because you have to make the marginal
Yeah.
plays.
100 is small.
Yes.
I always thought showing 2 cards is the most stupid thing ever.
Yeah, I know
showing
this.
2 cards when we see all cards.
Yeah, I know.
It's even more stupid.
Yeah. But this is because now, you see it in 5 minutes. If you remember it, it's not a big pot. They tell you to play more aggressive, Viktor.
Nice starting hand for
Yeah,
Ronnie.
guys. They're complaining.
Can I get a water and
Who are the biggest winners along with John D, asks Mafam? Well, Tony G's a winner,
7 raise.
Yeah.
15.
although he's
Oh,
in
Tony
quite a
G's
bit.
losing, I think, wasn't he?
Is he losing?
Yeah, he was in for bundles.
Halling saying that.
8 call.
Isildur with also a very nice starting hand, the aces.
So 3 ways. That's
That's a bit of Philipp.
definitely a bit of Philip.
Isildur's going to see no danger there with aces. King deuce 3 doesn't get much better.
3,000.
Backdoor, flush draw, wheel draw.
It's so hard to continue here when Philipp sat behind with only 10k. There's so many hands he's going to put in with. You're going to put if you were to try and play a hand like that, you're going to put 3k in and never see it again.
And Philipp should get it all in
Yeah,
because he does have some fold equity.
He's got some fold equity, and you can see
Not
there
a
he's
lot.
got 48% against aces, so it's, you know, an ace, deuce, 4, 5 or 6, it's enough.
3 all in.
How much?
12,100.
Fairly quick decision from
Yeah.
Isilduri.
7 call.
Backdoor clubs,
Showdown.
it's an extra parachute for him.
Showdown, please.
Looks like a fair race.
It's a fair race.
This could work
Deuce.
with,
Man, I have
could work within a fill book.
time. Set 2 pair.
What, yeah?
This is the maximum you get there.
You have a set or two, but you don't have any sets on King deuce 3.
Yeah.
You would have pumped the kings pre and you wouldn't have deuces or 3s. Oh,
Flush is blocked.
good call for Isildur,
Really poor card for Philipp.
and makes
Even
the backdoor
worse.
nuts.
Yeah.
Flush beats flush.
Not
Okay, 20 nochmal.
not my day,
Four
says
man.
Philipp.
Oh, maybe.
Not my day so far. Well, Isildur has steadily turned his situation around. He was down for most of the night, but is now 32k ahead. Tony G and Sam T still on the graphic by virtue of the fact that they haven't officially cashed out, but currently we're four-handed here in Razvanov. Hey, where's Johnny Chan when you need a player, huh?
Come on, Viktor.
You know, as I've
Last
said
minutes.
many times, you know, a lot of people look at Johnny Chan and say, oh yeah, you know, first guy to win nearly 3 World Series in a row, and you know, great cash game player and stuff like that. But I think for many of us who came of age in the 80s, he really was the first one to,
Check.
I mean, really introduce fashion to the poker world.
Okay.
You know, the Fila sweatsuits, you know, the track suits. I mean, it was it was like a different, it's just a different thing altogether.
When did you buy your first one?
Well, I can tell you exactly, really, because basically he was that tracksuit that he wore in 86, 87 when
Yes,
he
you
won
own
the
it.
World Series. No, it was so popular that the Las Vegas Hilton, which was the big poker room back at that time, they used to run a giveaway that if you played 40 hours in the poker room, you got a free one. And
This can't be
that was
real.
it is. It is. That was my first trip to Vegas. I mean, I had to get one of those sweatsuits, so that
Wow.
was it. That was 88. So.
Wow. Put up going for the check raise bluff, 2 pair and a gut shot to the nuts. Well, not a gut shot to the nuts, sorry, to a gut shot.
Nothing.
Okay.
What you got?
I have something.
Had everything?
I don't know.
5 high. Flush.
I'd say Phillips loosening up a little
That
bit.
was a good little move. You know, John keeps betting away at these pots. That's why we bet with just a
Probably
10 high
the
flush
best
draw.
hand.
So.
And that's kind of, I guess,
Bluffing is
the
best hand.
6-6 or you have?
that's almost the magic of Gruissem, is that, you know, his plan is, well, I don't know how I'm going to beat John, but I'm going to figure it out. You know what I mean? I don't know how to
I'll
play.
try this, I'll
I
try
don't know
this,
how to
I'll try
play
this.
this game, but I will figure it out.
That was.
To call.
Running with the old classic 3s double suited.
3 players.
If you bet, probably call. No.
That's a pretty good flop for John.
Yeah,
Again.
and he's played every single hand.
7 4. Is it 8 4?
Well, so has Ronnie, to be fair.
Easy money.
8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4. 8 4.
That's you.
Nice hand.
I can't wait till Leon shows up. What seat you think he'll
Get these
take?
guys going.
Yeah.
I think without him, this game will fizzle out.
Thanks. 5-0, 200.
They left so early.
I'm so surprised that there's not more in this room that want to jump in. I mean, there is a lot of talent in this room, a lot of money, a lot of gamble. Everybody is. It's early, man.
I was about to say it is 4 o'clock, but you're like, it's early.
It's early in the week.
It's
You
early
know.
in the week.
800 raise.
I guess some of the guys maybe around here at midnight one realize there's a long list. There's a 25k tomorrow at midday. Thought, I'll just play that tomorrow. Little they know they could have got a seat.
5 call.
Little do they know they could be sitting in with John D, who's got 300k on the table.
3 players.
Let's see what happens when Ronnie Kaiser gets stuck.
3 check. 5 check. 8 check.
Johnny has a bold strategy. Play every
love
hand,
it.
win every hand. That's good.
Thank you.
If they check bet. It's not a bad strategy.
Yeah, what are
Philipp with the blockers.
My God, he's getting
1800.
stubborn. I think he's ground in.
5-8 4.
Are you going to let these guys beat you for 60,000, Mr. Gruissem? No. No, I will die in this chair if I have to.
I like that hoodie. Where do I get that?
I was going to say. I mean, you know, now that's that is a 21st century sweatsuit.
That's the
Elbow
It's the
patches
one.
are extra. Yeah, I'd take that. What do you think the rack rate is on that hoodie?
4 spread of 800.
you can take, yeah.
Let us know, Twitch. Where do we
It's
get
gotta be
it?
about
Yeah, I can
$1.60,
take it.
right? It's worth $1.60.
Is it the ace, king, queen, 5?
It's okay.
He definitely has a more Swedish look to him than John.
Yeah. You wouldn't bet Sweden for John, I think.
Yeah.
Sit 3 fold. Sit 5 call.
So they're playing. Are they playing 1-2-4 or 1-1-2-4 right now?
1-1-2-4 with some nice, generous people putting dead money on.
So the 4 is on the button.
8
Nice.
call. And 5 call.
Ronnie's loosening up a bit here with the queen 8-5-4. And John as well, but John is just going to play every hand until he doesn't win one.
Right, and he is double suited, technically.
Yeah. Good luck. Well, this is why he plays it. Top 2, open ender, and a backdoor flush draw.
That's
That's
pretty much the best flop.
It's just John flop.
Yeah.
3 point.
Is it with the bare ace and a gut shot? It's a good spot to go. Betting.
Might as well be playing 10-20. I mean, they're not nitty. It's really just in comparison to the way the game was earlier, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a 3-bet here and 2 callers and a 3,200 bet. And you've got a bluff here with absolutely no equity.
Sit
And should John fly it in here, or
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting spot for John.
80?
I mean,
Because he can't really. This is the beauty of having an open ender. He's just his top 2 he thinks is good. But even if someone's got a set, he's in good shape. And if they got a draw, he's in good shape. It's
right? But I mean, he has no idea that the club actually doesn't hurt him.
I know,
But
yeah.
I mean,
But he can really put the screws on Ronnie if he pops it up here.
and what is the what
And
would
he
the
blocks- he
what would
blocks
the
top set is the
downside be
important
to
thing.
calling?
Yeah, there
okay,
we
he
go,
has
yes.
raised, but is
Well,
there
because there's so many bad turn cards from any club, and
right? And the worst shape he's in
And
is probably still 40-45%.
yeah,
equity?
exactly, yeah. I mean, and
7
he just
and
puts.
8 fold.
It's so important not just having, the top 2, having the having 2 pair, but having a 9 and blocking top set so big for him.
Huh.
I saw the last card though.
You will see it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Party Poker Live Big Game Germany, where the Omaha action is drawing to a close. Hold'em is to follow, but for now, we've got the final throws of PLO to bear witness to.
Good morning.
Morning, Leon.
Come on, keep the game girl running. We wait. We need action.
1500, sit 3 raise.
Leon, 5 minutes.
Fast.
Yeah, it's end of the night stuff here. Gonna be the last hand of Omaha, I believe.
And you?
1005. 7-4.
Cool.
Das sieht nach einer dreckigen Hand aus.
Can you change me, please, sir?
John G has his chips stacked in a way that suggests he's already calculating the Maserati and Lamborghini he's gonna buy with the money he's won tonight. For Philipp, though, one long game.
Heads up.
More to his poker than just a mustache. In fact, Philipp Gruissem and Ronnie Kaiser, you almost wonder how they would consent to playing each other. So fearsome are their reputations.
2.2, sit 8 bet.
I think Gruissem would almost certainly have the edge in a Hold'em match. Well, Ronnie Kaiser, certainly more of an Omaha expert. So if there's one guy who would be very excited to see this game turn to no limit Hold'em, it is Philipp himself. Both got a flush draw here. Ronnie's hand obviously much better. He's got the pair as well. 55%.
3.
A lot of cards, I think, on this turn that make it very difficult for Philipp to continue with. I mean,
Heads up.
there's no reason he can't be up against an ace-high flush draw. No, in terms of Hold'em, the Queen 5 of diamonds right now might look okay, but in terms of Omaha,
You check.
Gruissem is fairly done.
Check.
Ronnie slipped the rope to Philipp. Here, hang yourself with this. And Gruissem doesn't go for it. I think it's going to be check, check here, boys. Ronnie thinking to himself, I might not get paid. And what do I know? That'll be the end.
3.2.
Gruissem
bet,
is going to be left to
sit 8.
brush his mustache. We're going to have to total up. And then it'll be a question of getting the game back together.
3-4.
And so, an 11,000 euro pot brings the Omaha action to a close. We've had in total 7 six-figure pots here in Razvedov. They've been taking swings all night, and none connected better than the 420,000 euro pot between Rob Yong and Tony G. Biggest pot so far.
That is one of his
That
outs.
is it.
Date with an 8.
9-8.
Date with an 8. Am I the greatest? I knew it
Wow.
was gonna happen, right? Champagne for the casino. I got the heart. I got the heart.
180.
I got the heart.
180.
In the end, Rob and Tony both ended up a little down on the evening. Sam Trickett, The Wolf, Jan Peter Yakman. That's a good trio of talent there, between them bankrolling over 300K of action, filtering upwards to the likes of Isildur, Gary Hagen, our online qualifier, and the two big winners of the big game so far, Leon Sukernick and John G. Leon will be back for the big game part 2 when we switch it up to No Limit Hold'em. Sukernick, The Wolf, Trickett and Young, all back at the table, action guaranteed. Join us next time for the big game from Razvedov.